What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again with Locked On Wizards. Tonight, we're going to look at some comments made by Kyle Kuzma following the latest loss. Why is it that Washington gets more media coverage now that we're rebuilding as opposed to when we're trying to contend? And we're going to look at a mini preview for Friday night's game against the Orlando Magic. So rock with your boy tonight next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up again, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott, and I appreciate you guys making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. So tonight, again, we're going to look at some comments made by Kyle Kuzma pertaining to our defense. And then we're going to look at the another question. Why is it that the media gives us more attention when we're rebuilding and not very good, as opposed to when we're trying to contend? And then we're going to look at the preview for Friday night's game against the same Orlando Magic. So let's dig right in. Per Josh Robbins of The Athletic, with an interview with Kyle Kuzma said, quote unquote, "We can't guard a stop sign." That's kind of really what it boils down to. We let anybody get whatever they want on us. So until we change that, then that's probably going to be the result. So looking at those comments by Kyle Kuzma, is he lying? I'm gonna say no. Other factors to kind of look at: why is it that Kyle Kuzma is the one who's coming out saying this about the defense? Why isn't Weston Sell saying anything? Why is Kyle Kuzma? Why is the players come out talking about the deficiencies of the defense? Another question. So is Kyle Kuzma within his rights to come out and say this about the team? Well, this is not the first time he has came out and voiced his displeasure with either the play style or the direction of the team. He made comments last year and the year before that, especially when it came to Spencer Dinwiddie. But is he lying? I don't think so. We know that the defense is bad. The defense, and here's the thing, this is year 3 of Weston Sell Jr. coming over from the Denver Nuggets and becoming head coach. His MO was defensive coach. This is the 3rd year where the defense has been terrible. Where are they terrible at? Well, almost every facet of defense. They are terrible in transition. They are terrible on the perimeter. They're terrible in the paint. They don't communicate. They don't rotate in a timely manner. They don't close out on shooters. There's no intensity. There's no leadership. The defense is terrible. The rebounding, this is quite frankly probably the worst rebounding team I've seen in Washington in a long time. And we're terrible. We cannot defend anybody. So he is absolutely correct. Now, here's a question for everybody. Should he have kept it in-house? Or was he, again, within his rights to come out into the media and say that? I'm going to say he's within his rights. He is a leader. The fact of the matter is this. Weston Sell Jr. is not getting it done in D.C. Now, I believe, just like my co-host, my man, my dude, Ed Oliver, the real Ed Oliver, that is, we both believe that them enacting his 4th-year option so early in the game was a mistake, because I thought, just like a lot of people thought, a lot of you thought, that this front office, this spanking new front office, which, again, I'm a big fan of them, but I thought that they were going to evaluate him and then see what's going on next year as far as the head coaching position, because you've got to look at that position. This is the 3rd year in a row where the whole MO is defense, and the defense is terrible. I mean, how long are we going to do this? That's my question. I mean, how long are we going to do this as far as holding on to the hope that head coach Weston Sell Jr. can evolve as a coach, figure out rotations, figure out how to game plan, figure out how to make adjustments at halftime? I mean, how many years are we going to do this? And then you gave him, and I get it to a certain degree. I get that they gave him the option because they don't want him to look behind his back. I get that. Be a little more comfortable, because maybe if he's comfortable in his position, he can evolve and have a better year, but he has not. He has not. We are probably outside of the Detroit Pistons. We are the worst team in the Eastern Conference. In the NBA, there's a few teams out there that give us a run for money, including San Antonio Spurs. But Chicago Bulls are in there. But as far as we were not a very good team, and we very well are going to get a top 5 pick, if not the number 1 overall pick. And we play like a top 5 pick team. Let's be real. But this is year 1 of a rebuild, and we know what we signed up for, or you should know. But looking at that, was Kyle Kuzma right? Absolutely. This defense is terrible. And I'm hoping that with him coming out to the media and saying this, there's going to light a fire on this team, because it should. If you look at what's going on with this team, Kyle Kuzma, going back to last year, has been the leader for this team. Looking at last year, should have been Bradley Beal, absolutely, but it wasn't. It was Kyle Kuzma. If you look at this year, he's been very instrumental in working with Denny Avia. Denny getting his bag, Denny taking that step forward offensively, I think has a little to do with Kyle Kuzma and his leadership style, making Denny comfortable, helping him out. You see the leadership. Now, you've seen the leadership in ways with Jordan Poole, but we're not talking about Jordan Poole. We know that Jordan Poole has had his issues with maturity, but he has had his moments of leadership. But overall, in my opinion, the leader of this team is Kyle Kuzma. But when does Wes Unseld Jr. hop into the mix? That's the question. So definitely comment below. Let me know, let me know what you guys think, man. How long is the rope for Wes Unseld Jr.? I mean, at what point do you consider a head coaching change? Middle of the season, at the end of the season? Let me know what you guys think. But it goes back to, I think he was well within his rights to come out in the media and say what he said, because the defense is terrible. And we can't continue to sit here and act like, well, it's going to get better. Well, with this being a rebuild, eventually it will get better. But here's the thing, I say it all the time, culture. Culture. What is culture? What is culture? Culture is solidifying work ethic, right? Playing a certain way, playing with pride, playing with cojones, right? Playing like you're trying to win. I get it. It's a rebuild. Doesn't mean you don't. Here's my thing with this team. Before we go on to our first break, is I get it, man. It's a rebuild. You're not going to be a very good team. I get that, man. But you want to solidify culture now. You want to instill a winning culture now. So when you have the personnel to be that winning team, you already have the work ethic and the culture in place for this team to succeed. You do not 4 years down the line, when guys start to develop and get good and ready to contribute in a continuing way, you don't want to start solidifying culture then, because it does not work out. So right now is the time to solidify culture, and I think that it starts with playing hard. They on the defensive end, man, they got to do something, because like I said before, man, every area of defense is a struggle. Transition, perimeter, everything. So effort could go a long way, especially with guys who aren't really defensive guys, like our backcourt of Tyus Jones and Jordan Poole. So why is it that DC doesn't get as much love while we're trying to win, as opposed to in a rebuild? So we're going to look at that. We're going to look at why does the media kind of get on the Wizards' back when they're rebuilding, as opposed to other years? And then we're going to do our preview and prediction for the Orlando Magic game for Friday night. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel, because right now new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins, though. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get on the action than right now. Don't even think about it. Just do it right now, because the app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over and unders, and parlays, and a lot more than that. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, the official partner of the National Football League. And Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day. The local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. So another topic for tonight. Why is it that publicity for the Washington Wizards is greater now that we're in a rebuild and not a very good team, as opposed to years past, looking at the Bradley Beal era mostly? Because we did get a little bit of media coverage under John Wall, but it was usually for the negative things, right? Whether it was, and look, before I even get into it, John Wall is my favorite player of all time, especially in DC. Now obviously in the overall scope of things, the NBA would be my top three would be MJ, LeBron, Kobe. But that's a subject and a question for another time. But as far as the Wizards, my favorite Wizard of all time is John Wall. Now, but we know why he got a lot of negative publicity in DC. In the later stages of his career in Washington, did he show up out of shape? He did. Did he party a little bit off the court? Yeah. And certain media personalities like Stephen A. Smith are very hard on John Wall and hard on the Wizards, especially certain years where we were supposed to be contenders. Now he did give us some props, but he was mostly very negative and how he kind of viewed the Washington Wizards and especially John Wall. But now it seems like that the Washington Wizards get a lot of publicity, and I'm gonna tell you why that is. Number one, is the national sports media biased towards bigger markets or certain teams? Absolutely. Because not only do big market teams and winning franchises get most of the media coverage, it does create it creates bias. All right, Golden State. Let's be real. All these Golden State Warrior fans that were around or are around now rooting for Steph, Clay, and Draymond, where were they at when the Warriors were hot garbage? Right. So, I mean, obviously bandwagon fans is something that happens with anybody, especially with teams that aren't big market teams like the Lakers, which Lakers are always going to get most of your coverage. The Knicks, New York, whether the Knicks are good or bad, they always get their coverage because it's the media capital of the world. So certain teams are going to be the media is more biased towards your Cowboys, right? Your Patriots, these certain teams that either A are big market teams or B or successful teams, because again, all these past fans here, where were they at when they were hot garbage, right? So it's one of those things. So looking at the scope of why are they harder on Washington now, I think it has a lot to do with certain personalities. Jordan Poole, he got a lot of media coverage in Golden State, mostly for the wrong reasons, but his work ethic was something that was brought up in the media. The fact that he does work hard, he does work on his game. But we know about the baddies. we know about his dating life and history, the issues with Draymond, the issues he's had, on the bench. A lot of the stuff with Jordan Poole has been in the public eye. So with him coming over to the Washington Wizards and this being quote unquote his team, which I think a lot of us know that this isn't exclusively Jordan Poole's team, but he is that guy as far as media exposure. Now you can say Kyle Kuzma, with him being in the fashion game and many other aspects, especially off the court. Shout out to a lot of stuff he did with the holidays coming up off the court. Definitely shout out to Kyle Kuzma. But is he in the public eye? Yes, but not like Jordan Poole, and we know that. So I think that Jordan Poole, with him being in Washington, has a lot to do with the coverage that the Wizards get, good, bad, or whatever. Now, Jordan Poole, does he help the situation? No, because now you know how the national sports media is, as far as sometimes people love to fall. And right now, looking at Jordan Poole, they're looking at, oh, okay, he's on his own team. He's out of Golden State. They relish on him struggling. And that's and with all the issues with his maturity, with all the issues with him starting slow. This is just a media story. So, it has a lot to do with Jordan Poole being on the team. But, it is the thing, man. We are year one of a rebuild. I think all this outside noise, and this is one comment, and this is one thing I liked about Jordan Poole coming over from Golden State, whereas, a lot of media were asking him, about what happened in Golden State with him and Draymond. And he said, look, I'm in Washington. I'm going to focus on Washington. That's a closed chapter. So I think that us as an organization, when I say organization, not only the front office, ownership, and players, but us as a fan base, us that cover the Wizards, whether it's Locked On Wizards, any other media outlet or content creator, is that we need to look kind of, in our own ways, kind of close out the outside noise. It's about development, right? Look at what we do have in Washington. Bilal Coulibaly, I think we all can agree, we hit on that draft pick. Denny Avdia just signed a new contract. We've seen a complete evolution of his offensive game. He's turned into a complete player as opposed to a defensive player. We have a front office where we have three guys who easily could be GMs of their own team. So we have a think tank in the front office that is going to find talent in the draft. And when the time comes, make that deal or two to bring in talent here in DC. So I think all the arrows are pointing in the right direction for the Wizards. New front office, culture is important. And that's why I always kind of reinforce playing the right way, playing hard, playing to win. if you lose, you lose. But if you win, if you play the right way, do you really lose as in terms of development? I don't think so. So I think that solidifying the culture here is important. But the media, yeah, Jordan Poole has a lot to do with it. And that's why it seems like now, whether you look on Twitter or X as it's called now, or, ESPN or The Athletic or many of these reputable sports outlets, as far as media outlets, but they do have their biases, right? Win or lose, the Lakers are in the news. So, looking at the Wizards and scope of things, Jordan Poole, his history has a lot to do with our media coverage. And people, let's be real, y'all. There are people in the media that want to see him fall because everybody loves the rise and the fall, right? And so everybody's saying, oh, he's on the Wizards now, he's struggling, there's maturity issues. Are they tired of him? All these different storylines. And my answer to everybody is just block out the outside noise. Don't feed into this circus. Jordan Poole's here to play, and this is really my advice to Jordan Poole as the man, as the basketball player, is shut out the outside noise. Focus on what you can do for his organization. If this is indeed not where you want to be, definitely be very transparent with the front office. Do what you got to do to bring your value up, and then we'll see. But if you indeed want to be in the 202, if you want to be in DC, man, and really fill in the shoes of players like Bradley Beal and John Wall, who they were great on the court, but off the court, they did a lot. And that's why I said that Kyle Kuzma, you see what he's doing off the court. So, Jordan Poole, I think I want to, if he indeed wants to be in DC, definitely see what you could do as far as solidifying yourself as that guy in DC on the court as well as off the court. So we're going into a mini preview for the Orlando Magic team Friday night, which we just lost to, but we'll see on that one, y'all. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. So I go to a lot of games all the time, right? Baseball season, I'm going to the Nationals, I'm going to the Orioles, I'm going to minor league, going to University of Virginia. They always got a good baseball program. Basketball, the Wiz or Georgetown or George Mason. And then, of course, football, Commanders, right? And the Defenders, the DC Defenders. But I've gone through a lot of different ticket outlets, Ticketmaster, SeatGeek, the list goes on. And the best one to me, straight up, is Gametime, because you shouldn't have to worry about buying your tickets to your next event, right? Gametime is the fast and easiest way to buy tickets for all sporting events, including music, comedy shows, theater shows near you, with killer last-minute deals, all on prices, views from your seat, and the best price guarantee. Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets, because you can see the view from your seat before you buy, which is key. So you know exactly where you're sitting and what to expect when you arrive. All in tickets show your total upfront, so you know you're getting the best deal imaginable without the hidden fees. I ain't gonna call nobody out, but hidden fees, it was my stickler with certain ticket outlets. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event, and even an hour after it starts. So it's the best place to find last-minute tickets. So all you gotta do is take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Locked On NBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So we're going to slide into the last portion of tonight's video. We're going to be looking at a kind of a mini preview. This is the second time in 3 nights playing, Friday it is, but playing the Orlando Magic, obviously losing the last matchup versus the Magic. But if we have a chance to beat Orlando, and I think that we might come out playing with fire because of these comments under Kyle Kuzma, do I think that the players will respond? Yes, I do. Do we have a chance? I think we do have a chance. This is a rebuild. This is a long season, but I think we again, culture. You got to play the right way. So looking at Orlando, man, there are 3 things that I'm going to do if I'm the head coach to try to get a dub Friday night. Number 1, defense, man. Defense. Dag on defense, right? Perimeter, we've got to get down to dag on court. I'm not saying we got a full court press, but put some pressure on them in transition. Perimeter, rotations had to get faster. We've got to rotate. We've got to close out. We've got to get some pressure on shooters on the perimeter. Because, again, Cole Anthony, these guards they have in Orlando, whether it's Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Markelle Fultz is out, but he's another guy who can score in volumes. You've got to get pressure on these guys because looking at our guards, obviously our best defending guard is DeLon Wright, and he's out. Ryan Rollins is not a defensive guy. I mean, Jordan Poole, daggone sure ain't no defensive guy, and Tyus Jones has struggled. So how do you combat scoring guards? Effort, man. Get in the passing lanes. Effort, intensity. This is something I want to see from this team. If indeed you want to kind of get some fire lit under these guys, especially these comments by Kyle Kuzma, effort goes a long way, right? Interior defense has to get better. And it kind of slides into the second one, rebounding, man. Many times this year, we have been in a position to end possessions just to let them get second chance points. We have to rebound better. We have to prevent offensive rebounds, which are killing us this year. We have to, which in turn leads to second chance points. We have to rebound better. Looking at, I know that Wendell Carter was out. So I believe this is the game where, Daniel Gafford can come in with effort. And we know what we can kind of expect from Daniel Gafford, right? Around 10 points, around 10 rebounds, 2 to 3 blocks. But I think that with the personnel for Orlando, I think that he's in a position where he can influence his game a little bit. Stay out of foul trouble, which, again, is another MO of Daniel Gafford. But I want to see a lot more effort in the paint, preventing teams from getting these offensive rebounds, and in turn, preventing them from extending possessions and leading to second chance points. 3, push the pace. Catch this defense off guard, man. Do not give them time to set up. Get the ball rolling. I want to see Tyus, whoever brings the ball up. Because, in certain situations, obviously, Tyus Jones is the starting point guard, but very often than not, you'll see Jordan Poole bring the ball up. Or in certain situations, Denny Avia bring the ball up. But whoever brings the ball up, I want to see the pace get faster. Get the pace, definitely was run a little bit. Because this team can score. We saw it previously. We just played them. This team can score. Then they got guards who can play some basketball, Suggs, Cole Anthony. We know that with Franz Wagner and Banchero, man, they got a lot of young talent that was size. So it leads into another point. Drive the lane often. Drive the lane. Try to get to the free throw line. Try to put pressure. Try to get Banchero and Franz Wagner. And I'm kind of looking at Denny and I'm looking at Kyle Kuzma as far as being aggressive driving the paint, was get some foul trouble on Banchero and Franz Wagner. Because if we can get them out and we can definitely make this a battle of the benches, then I think we have a chance to beat the Orlando Magic. So, again, I appreciate everybody, man. That is my mini preview to the Orlando Magic game. I think it's a winnable game, per se, if we play the right way. But obviously, this is year one of rebuild. But we covered a lot tonight, man. Definitely comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Was Kyle Kuzma, was he right making those comments in the media, or should that have been an in-house conversation? As far as media coverage of the Wizards, do you think we get fair coverage? And you think is the reason why we get judged the way we do over Jordan Poole in his coverage and his pass? That's another question for y'all. But definitely looking forward for Friday night. Again, Orlando road game. We definitely try to get back on track. So again, I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate you guys taking the time. Again, my guy, the real Ed Oliver, is out. He is feeling under the weather, and so definitely keep him in your prayers, man, so he gets better, man. Because man, when the seasons change, man, a lot of people getting sick now, man. So definitely, I've had my sniffles the last couple of weeks. So definitely pray for E, man. But again, I appreciate you guys, man. So we're gonna go ahead and call it a night. So we will not be doing a recap Friday night, but we will be covering it Saturday. I will be doing a live recap on Saturday, because Sunday, obviously, both me and E also cover the Washington Commanders. So Sunday is a very busy day, but we don't have a game with the Wizards on Sunday. So Saturday, look out for it. Saturday night, we will be doing, or rather, I will be doing a live recap following the Orlando Magic game on Friday. So definitely tune in for that. Come out, we'll chop it up, talk about the Wizards win or lose, man. So again, hope everybody has a blessed weekend, man. And definitely appreciate you guys taking the time to rock with your boy tonight. So everybody, hail to the Wizards and peace.